What's happening, ladies and gentlemen? Zeus bringing you my updated Stamsorc build video for the Greymoor patch. Now, before we get into the build, we're actually going to give a beautiful shout out to all the people that have become members of my channel. The support that we've received here recently is absolutely phenomenal, and I just can't say thank you enough. We've gotten up to almost 3.2k subs in a matter of a month, and that's just insane. And I want you guys to keep up that big dick energy. Now, we have gain the option to get members to the channel, and here's a beautiful screenshot of all these beautiful people that have finally became members of my channel right here. Now, if you're interested in joining my channel and supporting the channel and all that we bring to the community, I'll put the link to the membership options down below. Currently there's only one membership option, and it'll grow from there, but we're just going to keep it at a base minimum for now. Now, back on the topic of the build, the buff stat sheet is right here. Now, we do have a little bit of imp bonuses and stuff right now, so the stats will go down a little bit as far as the max health. I think we usually set it right at 29k max health, but we do have 1.2 or well almost 2k stam recovery and base 1500 health recovery. That being said, we go up to almost 6300 weapon damage with the weapon damage enchant before Balorg's procs. But anyway, we'll just go ahead and hop into the build. I know that's what you guys are here to see. We are running 5 Citadel's Crest back bar. Now, the trait doesn't really matter. You can go defending, precise. It doesn't really matter. This is just what I had already in the bank. We are using back bar Citadel's Crest, one piece. And the only reason we run the other piece of New Moon back bar is because find another Citadel's Crest shield. There's no point running another one piece of Citadel's Crest, because I'll explain in a second, sorry. Anyway, that being said, we are running Citadel's Crest back bar and New Moon front bar. Now, if you guys haven't heard of New Moon, it will be catching a slight nerf. It's going down to roughly 400 weapon damage at gold and spell damage at gold next patch, which will be the Stonethorn patch, but it will still be a viable set and a viable build. Now, that being said, we do run Poison's back bar, and like always, you guys can speed this up or slow it down if you need to. YouTube has this slowdown option, but we are running a Nirnhone Maul for the extra pin, 20% pin for the passives. We're using 2-piece Balorgs, head and shoulder, medium. And then the chest and legs would be Citadel's Crest front bar. That way we have the 4 pieces active front bar to get that extra little max health. So we have the heavy chest and heavy legs, Citadel's Crest. And then the other body pieces would be New Moon and medium. Now, we are running 5 medium and 2 heavy. The 2 heavy pieces being the chest and legs of Citadel's Crest. If you guys haven't heard of this set, it was changed a little bit ago, and now when you block, you heal for quite a bit of health. Now, when you are near a keep, it goes up to 10k heal every 5 seconds, and that's a lot of excess healing just by blocking, which synergizes well not only with this build but Sorcerer passes in general. Now, we are using 2 infused Citadel Crest pieces of jewelry and the new mythic, which would be the Wild Hunt mythic. Now, if you guys are not aware of what this mythic does, it is 15% sprint speed and movement speed while in combat, and 45% out of combat. You want to go fast, this will make you go fast. And combined with all of our speed buffs, which would be the medium armor passives, which give 3% per piece, we get a total of 15%, or it gives, I think, 10%. Yep, 10%. We are running the steed. So in total, grand total, we have 190% movement speed. And if you guys are not familiar with the cap is 200%, and the only way you would get to the cap would be by running Swift Jewelry. Anyway, so we are super fast, and that is the main aspect and strong point of Stamsorc. Stamsorc is so strong when it is fast. That's the main reason people play Stamsorc, is because of its mobility. Its mobility is key, and with mobility gives damage mitigation. So if you're able to kite and move around, damage mitigation from sprinting is amazing. Anyway, that's the gear. Let's go ahead and hop into the CP real quick. Again, you guys can speed this up or slow it down too. This is just my personal preference. Now, we are running 56 Warlord, 18 Sprinter, 1 Siphoner. We are running 37 Tenacity, 32 into Mooncalf, and 27 into Healthy. The only reason we run some into Healthy is because of the base health recovery that we get from this build, which would be through our food. So still have a pretty high amount of health recovery. I think it's 1500 with the potion. Anyway, we are running 51 into Tumbling and 48 into Shadow Ward. We are running 27 Blessed, 81 into Mastered Arms, 61 into Precise Strikes, 37 into Piercing, 64 into Mighty. Now for our red tree, we are running 81 into Ironclad and 15 into Medium Armor Focus, because this is a relatively squishy build. We like a little bit of extra physical resistance. Now, even with the base changes to crit resist, I still set it roughly 3k crit resist, so I don't need that many points into resistant, which frees up extra spots over here in the third tree. Now for the middle tree, we have 49 Hardy and 49 Elemental Defender, 23 Thick Skinned, just so we can get this Unchained passive, which is amazing for sustain anytime that you CC break. Now, for the last tree that freed up the points from the crit resist passives in CP, we put them in the quick recovery for a little bit of extra healing, which is the Healing Recede, which also affects Cyrodiil's Crest. Now, let's go ahead and hop into the food and stuff. We are running Artaeum. Now, if you're having a little bit of trouble with sustain, you're more than welcome to change to Lava Foot, which gives you a little bit more sustain, but you need to change your body glyphs to healthy, to health enchants. That way you're getting a lot more health, because that food doesn't give any. Now, like I said before, we are running Artaeum Takeaway Broth for this build, because it gives max health, health recovery, stam, and stam recovery. It just synergizes very well with this build. Now, if you still are having trouble with sustain, you're more than welcome to run Blood Spawn. It's a good option if you don't have Balorgs, or Engine Guardian. Engine Guardian is not only amazing on Stamsorc, but it gives sustain, and you can basically cut the proc from the Engine Guardian. It's gay, but it is what it is. But I prefer Balorgs for a little bit of extra damage. I mean, it's amazing. You get the base 129 weapon damage, and anytime you use an ultimate, you get physical and spell penetration equal to 23 times the amount for 12 seconds, along with weapon damage, which is amazing. I think buffed up completely, if you just use a normal Dawnbreaker, it goes up to like close to 6500 or 6600 weapon damage, which is a lot of fucking damage. Now for the bar setup, we are using bound armaments here, not for a few reasons. One, while it's slotted, you have max stam is increased by 8%, and your light attacks do a little bit of extra damage, which is super nice. But we have the passive from Daedric Summoning, which is this one right here, increases your health and stam recovery by 20% while you guys have a Daedric Summoning ability slotted. Now that being said, the next ability would be Dizzy Swing. Obviously it's a staple for Stamsorc. Now next patch, I will probably replace bound armaments with the new C-Frag for Stamsorc, just to test it out and see how it goes. But for now, this is what we're running. Now Executioner, which is another two-handed ability, is Execute. And then Camouflage Hunter, just slotted for the extra crit and weapon damage, and the Minor Berserk is really nice if you hit somebody in the back. So with this build, it's so fast you can get behind people very, very easily, so that's no problem. Now for our main heal, it's going to be Rally, which is also going to be a stam buff, which gives you extra stam recovery, a fat heal, and it's super key to the build. I mean, you have to run Rally on this build. Now for our ultimate, we are using Dawnbreaker. Now for the back bar, we are using Ball of Lightning, which is one of the morphs to Streak. This is our snare removal, so that way we don't have to use Shuffle or Forward Momentum. We can still maintain the heal from Rally. We just have two mag buffs, which would be Ball of Lightning and Dark Deal. Now with this build, you are able to sustain this easily, so you can use this anytime that you want to. It's huge for your mobility, and it's huge for kiting, and it's a lot of damage mitigation just from using this skill. Anyway, that being said, we are running Elude, which is reducing AoE damage attacks. It's in the medium armor skill line. If you guys are not aware, it's the other morph of Shuffle. But the main reason that we run this is, one, I don't really have a slot to put anything else here. There's no really reason to. And it gives you Major Expedition, which increases your movement speed by 30%. Now when we have Elude up, we have Overcap. So it's not really necessary to have, but it's nice to have. Now for our armor buff, we have Hurricane. It gives a minor expedition, and it does damage to people around you. For our off heals, we have Vigor and Dark Deal. Dark Deal is the main key to your sustain on a Stamsorc. Between that and Heavy Weaves, Dark Deal is so nice to have. The heal from it is not bad. I mean, I think it's roughly like 4k, sometimes higher when it crits. But this is our main Stam sustain. Now our back bar ult is just for damage mitigation, which would be the Psijic skill line Temporal Guard. It's just a nice little bonus damage mitigation while you're kiting and blocking and along those lines. So 8% less damage taken is really nice. Now, the reason that we run sword and shield over bow is, one, we don't need the mobility with this build for bow, and for the sword and board passes, we'll be blocking a lot, so sword and board is super key to have. Along with that is the passive, where is it? It's not in that one, I think it's in dark magic maybe. Yeah, this one right here. After blocking an attack, your next health, magicka, or stamina ability costs 15% less. And that is super key. So if you're really getting Zerg down, you can block, and your vigor costs 15% less. Your streak will cost 15% less. And it's so nice to have. Now, that being said, we are running 10 into health and 54 into stamina. We have enough stamina with this build. You could probably take the points out of health and put into stamina. It's not that big of a deal. There's really no difference. It just has a little bit of extra stamina would be nice, but I like the max health pool to keep me from getting bursted down. Now, that being said, we are running the steed, and we use tripods with this build. The steed is for mobility and health recovery, if you guys are not aware. So it just synergizes everything with the steed. The steed synergizes so well with this build. So we get increased movement speed by 10% and health recovery by 238, which is great. Anyway, that being said, we are running an orc. So if you guys are not familiar with the orc passives, I personally think orc is the best possible race you could ever be for a Stamsorc. You get max stam, you get max health, you get weapon damage, and increased movement of sprint, which is perfect for this build and Stamsorc in general. You just can't go wrong with orc. It's best in slot, in my personal opinion. And anybody that disagrees with me, I'm sorry, but you're wrong. Anyway, we do have pretty much all of our passives. I mean, passives are super important to mid-maxing your build anyway. So all the passives for dark magic, daedric summoning, storm calling, two-handed, one-handed shield, and medium armor, and the first 3 in heavy armor. So we are a werewolf with this build. There's no real reason I am a werewolf. I've just never cured lycanthropy. I've just never went through the process of getting rid of it. If you want to run that back bar, you can. It's just not for me. We have our Fighters Guild passives, our Psijic Order passives. We have Undaunted, Assault, Support, Orc, and Medicinal use for alchemy for a little bit extra sustain when you use a potion. Now, let's see. I think that pretty much covers everything in the build. If you guys have any questions, you're more than welcome to drop a comment down there in the comment section down below. Now, that being said, I have to again appreciate everybody that has supported my channel in the last little bit. We have been growing phenomenally. We have met our like goals. We've had donators, we've had members, and I just want you guys to keep up that big dick energy, and I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. Now, I love you fellas, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Don't forget to check that description for all them leaks. Deuces, boys.